Hello, wonderful students. We are on Chapter 11, Lesson 13, page number 877. And if you see this water faucet, you know you're on the right page. We've done length in the metric system now with millimeters, centimeters. We've done weight or mass with milligrams, grams, and kilograms. And now we're doing capacity, which means we're filling things up in liquids. And the good news is they use a very similar system. That's the super cool thing about the metric system, is that we're always multiplying and dividing in powers of 10. So let's take a look. In the metric system, the common units of capacity are liter and milliliter. You guys have all seen this when you go to the store and you buy a big bottle of soda. This is a really ugly one. It says Coke. This is a 2-liter bottle. A 2-liter bottle. So even sometimes we use these here in the United States. Instead of ounces and cups and pints and quarts and gallons, sometimes we use the metric system, like the Coke bottle is 2 liters. So there's just liters and milliliters. So that's awesome. We only have 2 things to compare. Let's look down at the very bottom of this page to see the difference. Here's a liter, and it tells you it's a medium-sized sports drink. So imagine that 2-liter bottle is what, 2 liters, 2 of those. And then a millimeter is the tiniest amount of liquid, about as much as you could put in an eyedropper. It's a milliliter, excuse me. And you use them sometimes in eyedroppers when you're doing medication. You'll see this, do like 5 milliliters. If anybody has a medication can, you can see that on there. I'll get one right now. So I just grabbed some like children's generic Tylenol from Target, and remember, you should never, ever, ever, ever take medication without your parent knowing what you're doing. But you'll notice that the medication you give is milliliters. You see those mLs right there? So if you're, your age, you guys, like 11 years old, or some of you 10, it's either 12.5 milliliters or 15 milliliters. And so it's important that we know how to convert things. This whole thing is 118 milliliters, or 4 ounces. So I just wanted to show you that we do use this metric system even in our real lives. Okay, let's look at this. A dripping water faucet, example 1, wastes about 90 liters, about 90 water bottles worth every week. How many milliliters of water is this? So we'd convert 90 liters to milliliters. 1 liter is 1,000 milliliters, so we're going to multiply 90 times 1,000. Remember, you can just do 9 times 1 and add in 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So 90 liters is 90,000 milliliters. The dripping faucet wastes 90,000 milliliters of water. So when we look at our capacity, there's 1,000 times the difference. So to go this way, we have to go small to big, we have to divide by 1,000. And to go big to small, we have to multiply by 1,000. So we're going to use 1,000 each time. Okay. A container of orange juice holds 580 milliliters. How many liters is that? So we're going, 1 liter is 1,000 milliliters. So we're going to divide 580 by 1,000. 580 by 1,000. Remember, we move our decimal point 3 places smaller to the left. So my decimal point's right there to begin with. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So now we have 0.580. So 580 milliliters is 0.580 liters. The container holds 0.580, a little more than half a liter of orange juice. Guided practice. Be sure to pause if I'm going too fast. 6 liters equals how many milliliters? Well, 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. So I'm going to multiply 6 times 1,000. I do 6 times 1 is 6, and I add 3 zeros. 6 liters equals 6,000 milliliters. Same thing on number 2. 4 liters equals how many milliliters? I'm going to do 4 times 1,000. That equals 4,000 milliliters. Now we're going to go the other way. We're going to go small to big, so we're going to divide. 7,000 divided by 1,000. Remember, if I have twins, I can cross them off. So this one matches up with this one. This one matches up with this one. This one matches up with this one. And now I just have 7 divided by 1. 7. 7,000 milliliters equals 7 liters. Number 4, 42 milliliters equals how many liters? We're going small to big, so we're dividing. 42 divided by 1,000. We're going to move our decimal. Remember, I can't cross anything off, so we're going to move our decimal 1, 2, 3 places. So it starts right there, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to have to fill it in with the zeros. So it's 0.42 liters. 0.042 liters. I said 0.42, but it's 0.042 liters. This is 42 thousandths of a liter. This is my tenths place, my hundredths place, and my thousandths place. Remember, these have the ths. If you're not spitting on yourself, you're not saying it right. And so this is 42, and the last place is thousandths. So it's 42 out of 1,000. 42 thousandths. Let's answer his question with the talk math. Which unit would you use to measure the capacity of a glass of milk? Would you use a milliliter or a liter? You could use either, but the liter would probably be a lot closer to the 1 glass of milk. You could certainly say this is, 980 milliliters. Remember, this little thing was 118 things of medicine. So your glass of milk is probably going to be, it might be 500 milliliters, which would be half of a liter. So 500 is half of 1,000. So 500 milliliters would be half of a liter. So either one is fine. Okay, let's go on to number 5 on the independent practice. 70 liters is how many milliliters? We are going big to small. We're going to multiply. So 70 times 1,000. 7 times 1 is 7, and then I count the zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. There aren't any decimals in there, so I don't need to move my decimal. I did move it 4 places over, but you don't have to count them. And my advice at this point is to go through and find all of the ones where you're going to multiply. So this is small to big, so this is going to be a divide. So let's put a division sign and skip it. Big to small, multiply. Small to big, divide. Big to small, multiply. Small to big, divide. Big to small, multiply. Ooh, there's a pattern. Small to big, divide. So let's do all of these ones, 5, 7, 9, and 11, because we're multiplying on all of those. So this one's going to be 1.2 times 1,000. So I'm going to make my decimal. I have a decimal, so I have to move it. I'm going to move it 3 spaces over. So here's 1.2. 1, 2, 3 spaces, and rewrite it, and I fill it in with zeros. 1,200 milliliters. You guys do number 9 and 11 on your own. Do number 9 and 11 on your own. Pause it here. Let's see if you can do this. Number 9 and 11 on your own. Remember, we're multiplying because we're going from big to small. Pause it here. Okay, so you should have done 4 times 1,000. This one was pretty simple, and you should have got 4,000 milliliters. 11 was a little more tricky, but it's the same concept, 6.21 times 1,000. So I'm going to rewrite it You can add in your zeros if you want, and you're going to move your decimal 1, 2, 3 places. 1, 2, 3. So your answer here should have been 6,210 milliliters. Okay, let's go back up to number 6, and we're going to do all of our division ones. So this time we're dividing by 1,000. So 10 divided by 1,000. And we're going to move our decimal 3 places to make it smaller. So 3 places to the left. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Put your decimal and then fill it in. So it's 0.010. You don't have to put that last zero. That's okay. 0.01 is the same as 0.010 because you can always annex zeros. It's the same. That's 1 out of 100. 1/100th. Okay, let's do number 8. 3,500 divided by 1,000. Here's my decimal. I'm going to move it. You know, it's a whole number, so my decimal's after it. I'm going to move it 3 places. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. 3.5. Okay, I want you guys to do number 10 and number 12 on your own, and then come back and check your work. So pause here, do number 10 and 12 on your own, and then come back and check your work. So at number 10, you have 230 divided by 1,000. Your decimal point is right there. You're going to move it 3 places, smaller, 1, 2, 3. So your answer here is 0.230, or you could have got 0.23. That's the same thing. And that is a 0 at the end, not a 6. Sorry about that. And the last one, number 15, that you had to do on your own, you should have done 5,000 divided by 1,000. And you can do it a couple ways. You can cross off those zeros that are twins. You can cross off those twin zeros like this. Twin, twin, and get 5 divided by 1, which is 5. Or you can do it like this. 3 zeros, 3 places, bump, 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 and you also get 5. Okay, you guys, we're going to finish this up. We're going to compare these. We're not going to do all of them because I want to do a word problem. 2 liters and 1,000 milliliters. Well, it's 2 times 1,000, so this is going to be 2,000 milliliters versus 1,000. 2,000 is way bigger. Do number 14 for me. Try to do number 14 and 15, and then come back and check your work. 14 and 15. Okay, on 14, I'm going to convert this liters into milliliters. I'm going to multiply times 1,000. So 0.39, I'm going to move the decimal point 1, 2, 3 spots over to make it bigger. 1, 2, 3. And fill that in. So 390 versus 390 is equal. And then I have on number 15, 82 liters versus 825 milliliters. So 82 times 1,000 is 82000. Whew, that one's way bigger. Way bigger. Okay, skip 16, 17, and 18, and we're going to turn the page, and we're going to do some of the word problems, because these are some things you might actually use in real life. So we're going to do these together. The nail shop purchases nail polish in 13 millimeter bottles. Find the total capacity in liters of 1,000 bottles. So it's first important to know that we have milliliter bottles, and they want to know the capacity in liters. But there's 1,000 bottles, so let's do that first. We're going to do 13 times 1,000. There's 1,000 bottles. So that's 13,000 milliliters of nail polish. So to go from milliliters to liters, that's small to big, we're going to divide. So we're going to do 13,000 divided by 1,000. I'm kind of close, sorry about that. I've got my 0 buddies I can cross off, my twins, that one, and that one. What's 13 divided by 1? 13 liters. My answer there is 13 liters. And that might confuse you because it started with 13 milliliters, but milliliters are a lot smaller than liters. So you have 1,000 bottles of it, you have 13 liters total. Pauline measures the water in a container to be 2,732 milliliters, 2,732 milliliters. Justin measures the water in the same container to be 3 liters. Circle the greater measurement. So basically, we've got the same problem we had on the other page. So we're going to say, which one is greater? Well, 3 times 1,000 is 3,000 milliliters. So which one is bigger? Justin's. Okay, this is mathematical practice number 1, is to check for reasonableness. We often want to check our answer, just like we did up here when I said that might confuse you, but we have to just kind of think it through and say, is that a possible answer? So we're going to do that on number 13. To prepare for his camping trip, Emmanuel filled his canteen with water. Is 15,000 milliliters or 1,500 milliliters a more reasonable estimate for the amount of water in a canteen? So remember, a liter, it told us on that page the other day, or I think it was maybe today. I'm drawing a little water bottle and it's not very pretty. H2O. It told us that a water bottle is about 1 liter, which is 1,000 milliliters. And I told you that there's the, oh, I didn't draw the little bottom wavy things, that our Coke can, our Coke bottle, is a 2-liter bottle. And so it's about 2,000 milliliters. So he's going to go camping, and he filled his canteen with water. Do you think he filled 15,000 milliliters of water or 1,500 milliliters of water? Well, 1,500 would be right in between the size of a water bottle and a Coke bottle. 15,000 then would be huge. It'd be 15 of these, 15 heavy water bottles. So 1,500 is more reasonable. Okay, hot problems. Number 22. Name 3 items that have a capacity greater than 10 liters. So I just told you that the Coke bottle is 2 liters. So we need something that is 5 times bigger than a Coke bottle, at least, than a 2-liter bottle. So I've got, what about this? A swimming pool. That's a lot more water than 5 2-liter bottles. What else? What about a bathtub? Bathtub. And let's see if I can think of one more thing. If you have one, go ahead and put it down. In fact, that last one, I want you to private message me to get credit. So your private message is going to say swimming, a bathtub, and something. And think of one more thing that's bigger than bigger than 10 liters. Something that's really full of a lot of liquid. And you guys can skip number 23. So for private message me this swimming pool, bathtub, and think of one more thing that has more than 10 liters. Nice work, my friends. Keep it up.